Jibo versus Alexa. Welcome to Projectventive. In our today's video, we are going to talk about the Jibo versus Alexa. Before the video starts, like and share this video. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel Projectventive for more updates. Having recently purchased a digital assistant, a family gets together around the kitchen island to take the packaging off of it. According to the findings of a new study conducted by researchers from the MIT Media Lab, individuals are more likely to place their trust in a new voice user interface, VUI, which could be a smart speaker such as Amazon's Alexa or a social robot such as Jibo, if the VUI demonstrates some human-like social behaviors. According to the findings of the study, family members tend to believe that a gadget is more competent and emotionally engaging if it can exhibit social signs, such as adjusting its eyes to orient itself at a person who is speaking. In addition, the results of their research showed that the way a device is branded, or more specifically, whether or not the name of the device's manufacturer is associated with it, has a significant impact on how individual members of a family perceive and interact with various voice user interfaces. According to the findings of the researchers, when a device has a higher level of social embodiment, such as the ability to give verbal and nonverbal social cues through motion or expression, members of a family interact with one another more frequently while engaging with the device as a group. This is true even when the device itself does not give verbal or nonverbal social cues. The findings could provide designers with guidance for developing voice user interfaces that are both more engaging and more likely to be used by members of a family while they are at home. Additionally, the results could assist improve the device's level of transparency. The researchers also discussed the ethical considerations that should be taken into account when designing specific personalities and embodiments. Anastasia Ostrowski, a research assistant in the Personal Robotics Group of the Media Lab and the principal author of the report, explains that these devices are new technology coming into the home and they are still very underexplored. Because families spend most of their time in their homes, we thought it would be beneficial to examine this topic from the perspective of multiple generations, including children and grandparents. It was quite intriguing for us to learn how people are interpreting them, as well as how families interact with these devices collectively. Research scientist Hae-Won Park, Cornell University graduate student Jenny Fu, and senior author Cynthia Breezel, professor of media arts and sciences at MIT, director of MIT RAISE, and director of the Personal Robotics Group, as well as a developer of the Jibo robot, are among the co-authors of this study. Today sees the publication of the paper in the journal Frontiers in Robotics and AI. The human-centered insights of our work are important to the design of all sorts of personified AI devices, from smart speakers and intelligent agents to personal robots, adds Breezel. These ideas can be used to the design of all kinds of personified AI devices. Examining the effects of interactions. This work developed from an earlier study that the researchers conducted, in which they investigated how people utilize voice user interfaces in their homes. At the beginning of the research project, participants were asked to become familiar with 3 different devices before being given one to try out at home for 1 month. The researchers found that users interacted with a Jibo social robot for longer periods than they did with smart speakers such as Amazon Alexa and Google Home. They were perplexed as to why people were interacting with the social robot more. To get to the bottom of this, they devised 3 studies in which members of a family worked together to interact with a variety of voice user interfaces in a group setting. Participating in the research were 34 families with a total of 92 individuals, ranging in age from 4 to 69 years old. The trials were aimed to simulate the experience of a typical family using a voice user interface for the first time. During the experiment, families were videotaped as they worked their way through a list of 24 acts as they engaged with 3 different gadgets, such as ask about the weather or attempt to learn the agent's viewpoints. After that, they responded to questions regarding their impressions of the devices, and arranged the personalities of the voice user interfaces into categories. In the first experiment, participants had the same experience with a Jibo robot, Amazon Echo, and Google Home. There were no changes made to the conditions. The Jibo was regarded by most as being far more gregarious, dependable, and compassionate. According to Ostrowski's explanation, the users were more likely to interact with Jibo because they got the impression that it had a personality closer to that of a human. An unexpected result. In the second experiment, the researchers wanted to learn how the participants' perceptions were influenced when they were exposed to a brand. They modified the wake word of the Amazon Echo to "Hey, Amazon," instead of "Hey, Alexa." However, they left the wake word the same for the Google Home, "Hey, Google," and the Jibo robot, "Hey, Jibo." In addition to that, they supplied the participants with information regarding each manufacturer. Even though both gadgets were quite similar in look and functionality, people considered Google as a more trustworthy brand than Amazon. This was the case even though Google and Amazon both sold very identical products. It also substantially altered how much people thought the Amazon gadget was competent or like a companion, adds Ostrowski. It also drastically altered how much people thought the Amazon device was like a companion. Between the first and second studies, I was not anticipating there to be such a significant disparity in the results. We did not alter any of the capabilities, including how they operate or how they react to stimuli. The simple fact that they were aware that the item was manufactured by Amazon caused a significant shift in their perspectives. Changing the wake word of a device can have repercussions from an ethical standpoint. She claims that giving a device a personified name, which can make it appear as though it has more of a social purpose, may mislead consumers, because it conceals the relationship between the device and the corporation that produced it, which is the same firm that now has access to the user's data. The final experiment that the team conducted was to investigate how the movement of individuals within a group affected the interactions. For example, the Jibo robot shifts its attention to the person who is currently delivering the speech. For this study, the researchers utilized the Jibo in addition to an Amazon Echo Show, which has a rectangular screen with the modified wake word "Hey, Computer," and an Amazon Echo Spot, which has a circular screen and is in the shape of a sphere, that had a rotating flag on top of it that sped up when someone called its wake word, "Hey, Alexa." According to Ostrowski, users did not find the updated Amazon Echo Spot to be any more compelling than the original Amazon Echo Show. This finding suggests that repetitive movement without social embodiment may not be an effective strategy to boost user engagement. Developing more meaningful connections with others. A more in-depth review of the third study indicated that participants interacted more with one another, such as glancing at one another, laughing together, or having side discussions, when the gadget they were using had greater social abilities. In the context of the home, we have been pondering how these devices encourage interaction between users. The question, how are these technologies going to affect people's relationships, is one that people ask themselves quite frequently. According to Ostrowski has said, we want to build systems that are capable of promoting a more flourishing interaction between people. The researchers were able to use their findings to lay out several design considerations for voice user interfaces. These design considerations included the significance of developing personalities that are warm, outgoing, and thoughtful, understanding how the wake word influences user acceptance and conveying nonverbal social cues through movement. Having obtained these data, the researchers plan to continue investigating how different types of families interact with voice user interfaces that offer differing degrees of functionality. For example, they might carry out a research project using 3 distinct types of social robots. They would also like to conduct these experiments in a setting more representative of the outside world and investigate which aspects of design are most effective when applied to a certain set of interactions. The Jibo team had first assumed that the journey to market would be quite straightforward, but it has not been. After failing to meet several of its shipping goals, the company, which was established by MIT roboticist Cynthia Breezel, substantially scaled back its launch ambitions, shifting its focus from a global release to a release only in North America. It turns out that developing your speech service, together with the animated robot on which it runs, is a task that is somewhat more challenging than one might have anticipated. Naturally, in the time that has passed since then, there has been a proliferation of voice-controlled personal assistants. The Amazon Echo, which is equipped with Alexa, was the first to the market, followed by the Google Home, and most recently, the Cortana-enabled device manufactured by Microsoft. Later on, in 2018, Apple's virtual assistant Siri will be given a concrete form, in the form of the HomePod smart speaker. Jibo is the only one of them that allows for bodily movement, while the others do not. The robot is 12.5 inches tall and has the appearance of something that may be found hanging out with Wall-E. It is a smooth plastic bobblehead that has a screen for a face. Jibo might not be able to follow you around the house like Mayfield Robotics' Curry can, though he does have a 2-hour battery inside of him, which is handy if you want to move him between rooms or bring him out to show him off at a party, but the difference that his motions make are transformational. It is difficult to adequately convey how much of a change all of those factors bring to the dynamic of daily life with Jibo. Alexa may have a sarcastic personality, but even when I'm chatting with her, I can't shake the feeling that I'm communicating with a remote entity that just so happens to be personified by a cylindrical speaker sitting on the countertop. Even while Jibo's intelligence is also stored on the cloud, it is much simpler to think of the actual robot as a buddy. This is especially true with Jibo. This is end of this video. Do you feel it nice? Make sure to give your valuable response in our comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel Project Ventive for more videos.